Berlin, a city steeped in history, once divided but now a vibrant and diverse cultural hub, famous for its nightlife and electronic music scene.
If you want to party and listen to techno music in Europe, then this is the place to be. Clubbing and the techno scene are a huge part of Berlin's identity, not just for the people who live here, but for the millions who come here every year, many of whom would have queued up outside clubs like this one.
And now Germany has officially recognised the significance of Berlin techno as part of its cultural heritage. But I want to know why. What makes Berlin techno specifically so special?
Toby.
Hello.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
I've come to seasoned raver Toby's house before a night out.
Make yourself at home. Alright. Cheers, sweetie pies.
What is it about the club scene here in Berlin that makes it different to other places?
For me personally, it's basically where I met a lot of my friends. You dance a lot, but also you talk a lot to other people. It's also like a political connection hub.
Raving together, it's like you're communicating with everybody in a way. Maybe you cannot, I don't know, you speak different languages. You just maybe you're not actually, you normally don't have things in common, but you're communicating together.
Try and explain to me just that feeling when you're waiting to go in and then you go in and you kind of like, you just hear the music and it's kind of, you know.
When you finally have everybody together, you go up and you kind of like walk up the stairs, you feel like the thumping, you hear it. Also the sound is perfection. Wherever you go most of the time, you know, it's just, you feel it. It's a physical, like very visceral feeling.
Oh, I feel like I'm in the club already, guys.
Right?
This is the famous 4-to-the-floor beat, the basis of all techno tracks.
I hear that and I'm like...
Yeah. The face says it all.
In a studio deep in the east of the city, Berlin-born DJ and producer Narcis is giving me a techno music lesson.
And this machine kind of originated like the classic original techno sounds. I think legitimately techno was founded on the 909 open hi-hat. Like legitimately, because it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like you... And that's like a techno track, basically, you know what I mean? Like it's done, you're finished. Press it on a record, release it. You know what I mean?
Berlin's love affair with techno began after the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. Abandoned buildings in East Berlin became the perfect place to host makeshift clubs and for East and West Berliners to meet for the first time. Legendary club owner Dimitri Hagemann was there at the very beginning. In his 30s, he opened the world-famous Tresor in a bank vault. The year was 1991.
It was clear, this is the space, something great will happen. We came, you know, with this incredible good atmosphere. Everybody had a good time, no control. And there was this law from 1949 that said Berlin is open all night long.
So no curfews?
No curfews. The club was the meeting point for many young creative people, and it was also an incubator for new ideas.
Yeah.
Berlin's DNA changed, you know. Berlin became a young city. I was in my small village and I wanted to change the world.
Can techno change the world?
I think dancing is better than marching. I must say the best ideas are born around 3:30 in the night.
3:30 a.m.
Yeah. Then we are ready. Then we know then we can change the world.
They put the lights on for us especially. And I am committing a cardinal sin, I have to say, just by bringing a camera inside here, because you do not bring cameras and film inside the clubs of Berlin. It just doesn't happen.
That's because there is a strict no filming policy in most Berlin clubs. They pride themselves for being safe spaces where self-expression and the music comes first. But that means anyone who is lucky enough to get in has to cover their camera phone with a sticker.
For many people here, clubbing and nighttime culture are on a par with visiting a gallery or a museum. And it's not just pure hedonism. People tell me that clubs here are safe spaces where they can express their ideas, they can have political debates. And there's a real fear amongst that community that things like rising rents and gentrification put all of that at risk.
It's the next day and a May bank holiday in Berlin, which means one thing: parties in the park. So what value do people put on this city's nightlife?
Is it the same as like going to the ballet when it comes to cultural significance?
Yeah, for me it is. Actually, yeah. In the end, it's also a lot of people putting a lot of thought into what they make for other people to enjoy.
So a lot of social issues, for example, feminism, equality, they're a little bit more pushed by the scene.
What do you like about techno music?
Everybody just looks after each other and it just has like a nice atmosphere.
Spread the love, right? Love, feel love, that's techno.
While it's been embraced by Berlin, techno music emerged in Detroit in the early 1980s, created by young black Americans in defiance of social hardship against a backdrop of industrial decline and technological advances. Some say there's a danger that techno's true origins are not being acknowledged.
It's important to recognize the black influences of techno because it's just a fact. And just by adding black culture and black influences, it's not taking anything away. Techno was like almost a spiritual response to the circumstances people had to live in during that time. It's almost like jazz in a way, I would say.
For Sarah, Berlin techno being recognised as part of Germany's cultural heritage is an opportunity also to discuss diversity in dance music.
What we don't talk about is the payment that those people receive. It's almost, I would say, like now a diverse form of exploitation in a way, because there's so much money in this culture.
The money made by Berlin's nighttime economy is significant. Pre-pandemic, it was estimated club tourism brought in over €1 billion a year to the city. But COVID's legacy, rising rents and the constant threat of gentrification is putting many clubs at risk of closure. This club sits in the path of a proposed motorway extension. They want their neighbours to know they're here to stay.
I noticed when you come in here, there's a big sign on the wall which basically says, "This is our sound, this is our venue, and we're going to protect it."
It's to let neighbors know, like, hey, keep in mind when you move here, there has been this venue way longer than most of you lived in this city. So keep that in mind before you buy an apartment. The spaces, like the free spaces, are getting limited and limited.
But does she think the cultural recognition of the scene in Berlin is enough?
When we're struggling to keep places alive, it's nice to have that, in the back for negotiations and stuff like this. But as a total, I don't know if it's really going to make a lot of change.
Back at Toby's, they're also worried about Berlin's nightlife.
Clubbing is getting more expensive, drinks are getting more expensive, getting into the club is getting more expensive. So I think that is one of the big challenges I think the techno scene is facing. There are a lot of collectives coming up out of nowhere from these spaces of actually we cannot afford this big club anymore, we're gonna make our own stuff. And that's also very beautiful.
Compared to other cities with their curfews and cameras, clubbing in Berlin really does feel unique. Perhaps getting cultural recognition might be the first step in keeping the party going, but how Berlin techno will evolve is yet to be seen. What I do know is that to truly experience it, you must come for yourselves, phones off, minds open.